Welcome to the number one Bengals podcast. I'm your host, Daddy McDuke. I'm joined as always by Dr. Hoji the Electric Smoji
Indefatigable.
and John Cougar Mellencamp Sheeran.
Oh, you didn't even have to add much to his name.
No,
You already had the
no,
John.
yeah,
Nice,
that was
nicely
ready.
done.
Thank you. And we are back to talk about the Bengals offseason. Obviously, we have to talk about Jessie Bates and his situation.
Yes.
And we have to talk about the combine, the NFL combine, and free agency is around the corner.
Right.
But first of all, how is everybody?
Well, thank you for asking, Daddy. How unusual for you to care.
Well, I don't know if you noticed,
He's
but
hiding something.
we have HR present again.
Right. I knew
And
this had
this
something to
actually-
do with it.
Yes, and this is my community service. It is a way of lessening kind of the sanctions on me from the show.
It's also just public decency, the bare minimum, as you could say.
Yes, and I don't know if the HR representative here, whose name I obviously know, it's Brittany Jackson, if she knows,
Bridget.
yes, that today is International Women's Day. I don't know if you knew that.
Yes.
That's
My
very
favorite
important
day of the
today.
year.
I was aware, Daddy. I'm actually
How did
really
you know?
impressed that I celebrate every year, and
Yes, me too.
I'm fairly certain the email corporate sent out reminded you. But I'm curious,
Well-
Daddy-O, who's a woman who inspires you?
Yeah,
Who
who are some heroes?
Who are some heroes for you?
Well,
Yeah.
first of all, I don't appreciate you explaining to me that the emails went out. That means you explained to a man, and I don't appreciate that, first of all.
No. That's when a man explains to a
All the
woman
days.
something that she already knows.
Second of all, I like all the women. I don't distinguish between them. They're all great. I can't name one because I can name a billion. So that I can't even get into that. But I'll tell you one woman who
We'll
I
have
really
to talk
appreciate,
about that later, but
and
proceed.
that's Courtney, our producer.
Yeah.
And
My
I
Shiro.
appreciate her. Yes, and I show her appreciation by promoting her show. Her channel, Brinks.tv, it's a media empire. And they have all the latest shows, all the headlining breaking news stuff. And so I don't know if you've heard, but the latest show is hosted by Nikki Haley. And it's called Wake Up Little Joey. I don't know if you've heard about this, but it is about
Sounds not
she's warning the president, Mr. Joe Biden, about the threats of Russia and China. And she mentioned recently, she went on the news circuit, she mentioned that the Chinese will take over Taiwan, and all these microchips that you find in your car or in your phone, so the chips, the crumbs, I guess, of the chips, those will be at the shortage. There's a lot of stuff that she wants to warn us about.
No, these chips
So
are not like those chips. The
that-
chips that are
that
made in
is-
Taiwan are computer chips. They don't have crumbs.
Well, maybe he has
Right.
been eating them as well. That's kind of
Right.
concerning.
Yeah.
But so there's that. And then also, look, if you want a direct line to me and Hoji and John, and look, it's off the air. It is, we can have, unlike here, we can have freedom of expression. There's no HR. You can say what you want. All the locker room chatter, all that stuff. You go to winnow.app/DH Sports, and we would give you updates on the news. There you go. Don't use that number.
No.
But yeah, we go and we give you updates on all the stuff and give you our opinions and share recipes. It's fantastic. It's only $3 a month. We have 2 actually subscribers, and so that is great. All right, let us get to the news.
All right.
Jessie, the franchise Bates. Now, Yeah.
Daddy, by the way, before we proceed,
yes,
I'm fine. Thank you for asking.
thank you. Do you see that, Bridget? Do you see that? He
That is
answered.
super kind of you. And I'm doing great. So
Thank you.
Thanks for
Look
asking.
at that.
Not
Thank you
bad.
for asking, Daddy.
John is doing good. This is fantastic. I'm so good at this. Look,
Yeah.
John, here's my question. They franchise tagged him, which means he is their franchise player, Mr. Jessie Bates.
It's a great description.
Right.
Very, very team-oriented.
And they don't want to give him a long-term contract. Now, John, you and I know that it is about the guaranteed money. But what I still don't understand is it fear that they're going to have to play? You know, like, if you take a Jessie Bates, 25 years old, superstar, I don't want to argue with anybody. Anybody who thinks he doesn't deserve to get paid like a top safety is insane.
Yeah.
This man, 2020
He's
was
the
best
reason win
safety
the
in
Super
league.
Bowl.
He was the reason. Look, 2020 best safety in the league. 2021 he was distracted. Why? Because he didn't have a deal, which he deserved.
Yeah.
In the playoffs, though, he forgot about all that. And John, he had the play that sent us to the Super Bowl against the Chiefs.
Yes.
He broke up a pass that Von Bell intercepted. He had the interception that put us on the right track against the Titans the week before. Okay? That first play of the game, interception, that is what allowed us to put the pressure on Tannehill and take away the running game. Right? And that's why we won that defensive battle. And against the Rams in the Super Bowl, he had that huge, deep interception and was outstanding. And get this, the one game where he didn't have an interception or, basically tip the ball to an interception was against the Raiders, and he had 3 passes defended in that game. I mean, this guy was really, he was the defense. I mean, he was the biggest, And
He's
the
a
players love
crouching
him.
tiger, hidden
He's got a
dragon.
great
He's got
attitude.
everything. Yeah.
He's got a
Yeah,
great
he's-
attitude. He's young. Players love him. There's no discussion here, right?
I mean, you just
And yet,
told,
John,
you told me everything that I knew. You told me everything that the Bengals knew, and yet you still led this discussion saying that they don't want to give him a long-term deal. And I don't think that's even remotely true. I
No,
think
Gary,
they do.
no. They haven't
preach
given
it,
him
John.
one
Preach it. So
because-
what's going on, John?
because
Explain to us.
John,
Explain
John,
to us what the delays. Explain, John. Come on, tell us.
John.
They don't do this, right? They don't give these guys deals that Jessie Bates wants. And not only Jessie Bates, but Jessie Bates' representation. Like, he's got one of the most powerful agents in the game right now. His agent represents Jalen Ramsey. You think Jalen Ramsey took anything less than what he wanted from the Los Angeles Rams when he was traded from there? Jessie Bates knows what other safeties are making. His agent knows what other safeties are making. And if Jessie Bates wants a contract that puts him up with the top safeties in the league, it's not a contract I think the Bengals were prepared to give, but that doesn't mean that they don't want to have him signed. I think that their side of things is saying, hey, we've drafted you, we've developed you, you have a home here, you're close to where you grew up in Fort Wayne, Indiana, you have a leadership role in this defense, and you know that you succeed here. Take this deal knowing that you will see basically every single penny of however many millions are in that deal, and don't worry about playing on another contract year in the chance that you can get an even bigger deal down the road. But Bates knows his worth. He knows that he's one of the best safeties in the league. He knows he should have made All-Pro and Pro Bowl in 2020. He knows that he was arguably the defensive MVP in just 2 months ago. The Bengals know this too, but I don't think that Jessie Bates is still that player to make them change how they structure contracts and how they want to distribute guaranteed money, because it's only in the signing bonus. And that Jessie Bates rightfully wants more than that. And that's why we had the stalemate that will last until July 15th. And maybe that is when the deal comes. Maybe Bates will just say, you know what, I'll take the Bengals deal. Maybe they make some minor adjustments to it, but I don't think that Bates is going to be the guy that makes them budge in this sense.
And is it
Yeah.
good, John, that they do things this way? Is this a good way to do business, John?
That's debatable, because the deals that other teams give that are reminiscent of what Bates wants, a lot of them, the players don't end up seeing the entire deal, but they have some security that they will see a certain portion of it because those salaries are guaranteed, whether it be injury or whatever. And that's just not something that the Bengals do. And traditionally, the Bengals hold on to their players. They don't use them as cap casualties, and that's kind of changed in recent years, and it will continue to change or see change this year when they cut Trey Waynes and maybe Trey Hopkins. So that whole philosophy is kind of going by the wayside, which is, it's like a negotiation tactic, right? Like, we don't offer you guaranteed salaries, but we offer you the security that you will see basically 100% of this deal. And I don't know if that still maintains with Jessie Bates. I know for a fact that when Joe Burrow gets eligible to be extended, like they're going to have to put that to the wayside because they can't afford to not have Joe Burrow. Like Joe Burrow is still in a different universe compared to Jessie Bates, and that should tell you everything you need to know about Joe Burrow. But I think Jessie Bates is like, he was going to be the one player where like if they changed for him, then they've completely philosophically changed because they have to change for Joe Burrow. They may not have to change for Jessie Bates.
Right.
John,
We have all
I don't
changed
know.
for Joe Burrow.
I've said this before. Jessie Bates is the Joe Burrow of the defense. I mean, I know the different positions. Okay?
Dude, that's such a like a loose
such an
comparison.
insightful,
No,
so
it's
lame.
not.
That's so
Because-
lame. You're
John,
such a loser, Daddy.
How many wins?
Can I say that, Bridget?
No,
You're
no,
such a
seriously.
loser.
'Cause I'm on, honestly, Daddy-o. Like Jessie
the
Bates was
playoffs?
not. Jessie Bates
Let's
was
talk
not.
about the playoffs.
Hold on, no, Daddy-o, let me finish. Jessie Bates was not himself this year. The Bengals still won the division. How many wins did Joe Burrow add compared to Jessie Bates?
I'm talking about the playoffs. In the playoffs, you could argue that he was as valuable as Joe Burrow.
Sure.
I mean, the defense.
No. That's categorically false.
No.
You cannot compare a safety to a franchise quarterback. You can't do it.
John. Okay, look.
You're going to
Joe
do it
Burrow-
anyways.
Joe Burrow, if he gets a deal, it's $50 million a year plus. Okay?
Plus.
And you're saying if he gets a $200 million, well, it'll be more than 250, I don't know, $300 million a year total deal, right? What, half of that's going to be guaranteed is what you're saying?
Something like that.
Okay. Whatever Jessie Bates deserves to get paid, 50 million, 60 million as a safety. Okay? Why can't they pay him half of that? Why can't they treat him in terms of safeties what Joe Burrow is in terms of quarterbacks?
I mean, there's no reason why they can't. I feel like they might be scared of setting precedent for non-quarterbacks, which is still just them being stuck in their ways. And I don't think it's necessarily going to change once Mike Brown is completely out of the picture. Like Katie Blackburn still has learned everything that she knows from growing up with Mike, and also Paul, who was basically the same. I think Paul Brown would have been very interested, or not interested at all in free agency. I think he would have acted the same way that his son Mike did because, again, like everything that Mike learned, he learned from Paul. So this is just them still not adapting to the times, and this is the same thing with the Steelers. But the Steelers did actually they did change for TJ Watt. And if that is a comparison to change for a non-quarterback, then maybe that is the case. But I still don't see the Bengals budging here, even though there's no reason why they shouldn't, because there's nothing that's stopping them from guaranteeing those salaries in case of injury. They're still going to pay him those salaries. This is just like a verbal contract that I don't know why they wouldn't sign.
Okay.
Now, Bridget,
Well,
Bridget,
yeah, I
you
want to
are
see
in
what Bridget
HR.
has to say.
I wanna
John's
hear- yeah,
talked a
because
lot.
Bridget
As
is
a
in
man, he feels like he's the only one who gets to talk. But Bridget deserves a voice too.
Yeah,
John.
no, but Bridget, she's in HR. She knows about deals and signing contracts.
I do. I mean, I was interested though in the culture piece of Jessie Bates' extension, and I mean, we all know, right? Mike Hilton extend Jessie Bates, and the Twitter campaign. And John, I'm interested in what you think, whether or not this sets precedent. Like, what do you think this is? We all know here, corporate wants us to have a strong organizational culture. That's important to getting our results. But like, what do you think this is doing to the Bengals culture? Do you think it's doing anything? Do you think it accelerates the momentum at all from this past year? Do you think it's maybe sticking the heels in the mud a little bit?
Yeah.
Potentially. Like, I feel as if the Bengals feel like they have a good thing going, and Jessie Bates is going to do what he can do to leverage his leverage, right? To use whatever negotiation tactics that he has, whether that be cryptic social media messages or, unliking or unfollowing Bengals players and stuff like that, to showcase that he's not satisfied with where negotiations are. And I feel like the Bengals did their part as well, saying that, we love Jessie Bates, the person. We've tried to get a deal done with him. We're happy to have him for this year and just to see where the future holds. So that's kind of them saying, like, we're not entirely committed to you going forth. And it's just like the two sides going back and forth because they believe that the base and the core that they have right now is obviously championship caliber, and they want Jessie to be a part of that. I think they're kind of using that to say, enough with whatever you have going on. Let's try to get a deal done. We've offered you a fair offer. Come back to the table and let's work something out. But I think these two sides are going to keep going back and forth until this gets up to the very end of the deadline. And then once that hits and Jessie Bates either has to play on the tag or he holds out, and then we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But I don't think we're at the point yet where this is turning into some potential turmoil. I think at the end of the day, Bates is still getting paid like $13 million, and that's completely upfront and everything. So like it's not the complete end of the world for him, but it's obviously not ideal either. So we'll see where this goes.
Well, I would say this. I know that the Bengals organization and Emily Parker, and they have intelligence briefings about the show. They don't watch the show, but they know what we say on the show.
Oh, yeah.
So I am going to say that if you don't re-sign Jessie Bates, that defense is not going to be the same. And maybe they have him this year, fine. But I think even having him on this year, a one-year deal, I think it's going to do damage to the defense. Long-term, it's going to do damage. That guy, in today's NFL, with our pass rush, pass rush played admirably. Okay? Trey Hendrickson was outstanding. But it's not a top-tier pass rush in terms of numbers, the numbers of people we have. Our linebackers are great. They're athletic. They're growing. You know, our corners they really played really fantastically. But I think what makes that work, and we saw it in the playoffs, is having Jessie Bates patrol. He strikes fear in opposing quarterbacks, which is why we had the advantage in those games. You know, you had Tannehill looked like terrible. You know, Derek Carr, you know, he had some really bad plays. Mahomes has never looked that bad. They had Jessie Bates back there the second half patrolling, intimidating. And even in the Super Bowl, I think that he made a critical play. So I'm going to say that right now. And I want to know from the fans, if you want me to make a, let's say, propagandistic video about re-signing Jessie Bates.
We call it a highlight tape,
things.
yeah.
That's what they call the highlights. I will do that.
Okay, we can minimize the propaganda usage, sure.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, we can do the propaganda. And
No, that's not.
look,
She said up.
she said, oh, look, let us move on to the NFL Combine. Okay. And John, you had a couple of people that you said the Bengals were looking at. One of them was a guard, the left guard, Zion Johnson from Boston College. And that they were impressed with him, is what I gathered from what you said.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, go ahead.
No, I thought you had something else to say.
I do, but I'll save it for after this.
Yeah, so Zion Johnson was already entering the week, one of the top guards in the NFL draft, coming out of Boston College. Had a really good week at the Senior Bowl, and then he tested really well. A lot of great testing performances for all positions, but especially offensive linemen, and he's really elevated himself into that conversation to be picked somewhere in the first round. He's a guy that has played, I think, mostly guard at Boston College, but he has experience snapping at center. He's practiced there at the Senior Bowl. They need athletes at the offensive line. And the quote that Frank Pollock said, you know, he wants glass eaters. I don't know why he wants guys ingesting glass. That doesn't seem very good
I'm going to
for
talk
your
about
digestive
that.
system.
I'm
But
going to talk about that.
I think Zion Johnson is physically capable of at least consuming glass. We'll see if he gets past his esophagus and whatnot. But he has the physique to do that, and I think that they really value that.
That's heck on the insurance premium, so no
Yeah.
ideas.
That is a lot of paperwork for Bridget if he does do that. But
None of
look,
us are insured.
Well, let's not get off topic here. It
Side
is International
conversation.
Women's Day. Don't make it about you, Hoji. Don't make it about
Okay.
you. One cause
Okay.
at a time. Look, there's
I
another
went to
guy.
get a simple procedure, plastic surgery procedure. Gave him my Daddio insurance card, and they raised
Yeah.
the price more. It not only didn't cover, I had to pay more. They said with
Well, I
this
have a
card
history
we
there,
charge
yeah.
more.
Well,
Now what's that about?
okay, look, John, there's also Daniel Falala from Minnesota. He's a huge right tackle. He's actually Australian, and he was one of the top 50 athletes according to GQ Australia. He was
That-
discovered at the satellite camp of Jim Harbaugh. That's how he made it to the States. Fascinating guy. Very, very charismatic guy, and a lot of potential there. Big dude. Big dude.
How big? How big is he?
We're talking
6'8"?
Hoji's
300?
weight with
Yeah.
like the combined height of both of you. So
Wow.
yeah, about
Yeah.
7 foot. I mean, if you want to talk
7
about a
feet
guy that
tall.
can eat a lot of glass, like I feel like the glass wouldn't really affect this dude's like internal organs and everything because he just has so much mass to go around. He engulfs defenders, like he just erases them. And I feel like if they want a guy to just immediately start at right tackle, maybe he has issues in pass protection, right? Maybe he's not the lightest on his feet because he's carrying around all of that weight, but he erases guys in the run game. And if they want a guy that comes in immediately and gives them the boost there, yeah, this guy right here.
How do we get him? I want him. How do we get this guy?
He might be available in the second round, but I think they might have to take him in the first.
Wow.
Do you think they will? What do you
I don't
predict?
know.
Do you think they're going to go offensive lineman in the first? That's
You
very
can't ask me
un-Bengals
for my
like.
prediction in early March. There's so much more to go.
I can make a prediction that they're not going to go O-line in the first. It's
Well,
just
there you
not
go.
their style. It's not their style. They're going to go. They always go for the.
Well,
I mean, and I think they proved to us that that's the right thing to do.
Well,
You
I'll
go
tell
for
you one
big
thing.
impact.
I'll tell you what they shouldn't do. I saw some people talking about them drafting a safety, and that upsets me because it suggests that, oh, they need to replace Jessie Bates. You know, the last time they tried to do that, when they were pushing Whitworth out the door, they drafted Cedric Ogbuehi and Jake Fisher, and we all know how that worked out.
Well, in
You
fairness,
don't-
Von Bell is also 1 year left on his deal, too.
All right, maybe a stronger safety, but don't draft a free safety. I'll be very upset, Mike Brown. I will write that letter. Look, John, let's go on to along the lines. Because this Laken Tomlinson individual, he is a late bloomer, right? And he was in San Francisco. He had the Pro Bowl year last year, his best year, but he's 30 years old. What do you think? What do you think? 1 year wonder? Or is he trending upwards or what?
I think he's about who he is at this point. So he was drafted by the Lions. He went to Kentucky, so he's kind of familiar with the Midwest. And he was drafted by Detroit. And I'm sorry, he didn't go to Kentucky. He went to Duke, a little bit more prestigious. Drafted by Detroit. And he actually played for a year under Brian Callahan, who was the quarterback's coach. So he was on the same offensive line that Riley Reif was on when Brian Callahan was with the Lions in 2016. He was traded to the San Francisco 49ers when they hired Kyle Shanahan. Kyle Shanahan runs a very wide zone-centric offense, so he's used to getting out of his stance and executing a lot of the same blocks that the Bengals want their offensive linemen to execute. And for the past now 5 years, he's been an above-average guard. And he didn't enter the league as like a plus athlete, but there's not really a block that he can't make. And he's played exclusively at left guard, and he's very, very agile to this day in pass protection. He just turned 30 years old, but I think he moves like a guy who's just came into the league, and he carries like 320, 330 pounds like it's nothing. So if you want an all-around solid left guard, like Laken Tomlinson's probably your guy, and you're probably paying him for the next 3 years to play at an above-average level, and there's nothing in recent memory or recent years that indicates that he's going to be anything less than that.
So,
It
John,
could
I
be,
mean,
John. It
yeah.
could be, John, a Benjamin Button kind of situation. And the problem with that would be that in 20 years, he'll be a child. And we'd be in
Well,
big trouble.
Then he
It's
can
not a
work
problem
for
with the
our show.
Bengals, yeah.
He can work for our show, yeah. But let me ask you something, John. Is he 100% a starter? Because remember when we brought in Xavier Suafilo and they were like, oh, this is an upgrade because he's better than the guards we have. But we want a guy who's a clear starter who's gonna obviously beat out the other guys we've been rotating in there. Is that what he is?
So in the last 3 years, he was PFF's 22nd ranked, 8th ranked, and 13th ranked guard. A little bit
That's
better
good.
than Xavier Suafilo. Yeah, he's a bona fide
good.
starter.
Okay, good. Just want to make sure. All right. Well, look, let us move on to the horoscope because I know you have
Yeah.
a lot to say there.
Not a lot, but a little. I definitely want to talk about this question that John has raised. So when Frank Pollack mentioned that he's looking for glass eaters, at first I heard it as grass eaters. And I was like, yes, finally, a vegan offensive line, all vegan offensive line. Cows, bovines, they get very big. Great idea. But no, that's not. He said glass. What did he mean by glass eaters? And I started to do research about the phenomenon of human beings eating glass. It's a It's a disorder called pica, and there's different varieties of it. There's acuphagia, which is wanting to eat sharp objects, which I think the glass would fall under that. Amylophagia, where you want to eat like purified starch, people eating burnt matches, that's catophagia. Dust, feces, vomit, raw potatoes. Each of them has it's earth. Glass is a different one, and then wood, stones, metal, mucus, ice, lead, hair, wool, urine, blood. There's vampirism, which is hematophagia.
Right.
So really, what is he saying? What is Frank Pollock saying? He's saying, look, he knows, and I know, that what usually causes these disorders is a kind of different kinds of obsessive compulsive disorders and issues like that. But what he's saying is, it doesn't matter who you are. You belong on the Bengals. You might be eating glass. That's okay. You might have xylophagia. You might want to eat wood derivatives such as paper. You belong there. You might have urophagia. You might drink urine. Come on up. Come on down. You belong on this team. Maybe you ate ice. Hey, that's called pagophagia. Come on. We need you too. And we saw that in the Super Bowl, John, if you remember, with a certain man, and he's what I want to focus on, Vernon Hargreaves III, my hero. Vernon Hargreaves III, if you remember, John, was the man who, just at the right time, came out in his socks and underwear and got the Bengals a 15-yard penalty. Now, what's the message that sends to people? It says, hey, we're a bunch of guys you belong here. This is your family. You might remember at the halftime when our kicker, McPherson, stayed out to watch the halftime show. Didn't even go in the locker room. Why? Because that's the kind of team this is. It's a family. You belong here. You come with all your problems. You want to drink blood. You want to drink urine. You want to eat glass. Welcome. And that's my team. That's what makes me proud to be a Bengals fan. Because I know that no matter what I eat, no matter what I wear, if I want to come out in my underwear and my socks, guess what? I still belong here. So I salute you, Bengals. I salute you, Frank Pollock, for being so open-minded. And that is my horoscope.
That is fantastic. Now, speaking of strange things to eat, I think, Hoji, you've been using a lot of the athletic greens. Is that correct? Yeah.
I have. I've been really heavy on the athletic greens. I don't know. What do you know about athletic greens? Do you know a lot about athletic greens? Because I want to tell you about it.
Yeah.
They do. But they pay us in so much more than money. They pay me in vitamins and minerals that are grown in New Zealand. They pay me in the delicious scoop of green lusciousness that I put in my water. And my body absorbs 75 high-quality vitamin minerals, superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens. And Daddy-O, what I've realized is that athletic greens is such a complete meal that even though it has almost no calories, I can live simply by eating athletic greens. I need no food. So for the past week, I have only been eating athletic greens. And I didn't think that was possible because it doesn't have any, it's not food. It doesn't have the calories. But I want to show the viewers, come in, can I have the solo shot? Look at my face. I'm glowing. I can see through walls now. I can literally see the future. I know how this show is going to end. I am invincible.
Well, okay. Did we lose?
We got a guy on him.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm okay. I'm back.
This is why we don't.
Someone gave me a piece of vegan cheese. I'm okay. I just needed a few calories.
Yeah, just a couple of calories.
But it's lifestyle friendly for all varieties of diets. Only 1 gram of sugar, no chemicals, artificial flavors. Reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. It's just 1 scoop in a cup of water every day. That's it.
Did they have power bars? Maybe a little.
No, it's just 1 scoop in a cup, grown in New Zealand. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/believe. That's BLEAV. Athleticgreens.com/believe.
Yes, well, if you...
These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Athletic Greens, take ownership of your health.
Right.
Your
look,
comment on Vernon Hargreaves is not evaluated by anyone either. I think that's the most love that poor guy's gotten in a long time.
Oh, he earns it. He's my hero.
I would say this. If you take the athletic greens and you do pass out or you feel weak, you're lying on the couch, go ahead and turn on that NordVPN. And you can watch movies and shows in 59 countries. You can remotely control other people's computers, their climate control systems, as John has told us. You have all sorts of powers. And look, it is 70% off when you go to nordvpn.com/believe, BLEAV. You get the first month free, and you get a 30-day money-back guarantee.
And someone, I think, has been using NordVPN to record us during this whole show, because I hear the tapes are running and I love it. We need to be monitored.
Wait, that wasn't you?
Well,
No.
well, that is
I'll look into it.
well, that's a good thing. We have this next segment, by the way, which is Bridget Daddio Cares, and we want to talk about Joe Burrow's hunger relief. And in preparation for the show, Bridget, by the way, I went to the website, Joe Burrow. I never do online grocery shopping, but I went there and I saw all the items I normally buy, cans of tuna fish and crackers and all that, but the prices were a little high. So I looked and there was like a $500 option, $1,000 option, and you can't choose what you're buying. You just click to pay an amount. And I was very confused. So maybe you want to talk more about that.
Yeah, I'm getting the sense, Daddy, that maybe you've never donated before.
That's
so
not.
I'm gonna help you out here. So
Okay.
The Joe Burrow Hunger Relief Fund kicked off when Joe Burrow actually gave his Heisman speech. I think we all remember that. And that speech raised over $650,000 for this Hunger Relief Fund, which is through the Foundation for Appalachian, Ohio, and it supports the Athens County Food Pantry. So we know Joe Burrow's from Athens, Ohio, which is 2-ish hours away from Cincinnati. And so far, since Joe Burrow has been with the Bengals, the fund's raised over $1.3 million. And fans are doing really cool things, like donating $9 or in $9 increments. Not just $9, but $90, $900 for Joe's jersey number. We also saw fans donating in $31 increments when Bengals beat the Raiders for that playoff draw win. And so in 2022, the fund's really trying to do more by providing other hunger relief grants to other local or regional food pantries to really do more with hunger relief, especially in the Appalachian region and in rural Ohio. So that's our community segment. And Dadia, what do you think? Like, you're not, when you're
How much will
donating,
you give?
I'm just, no, it's very heartwarming. I'm just a little confused. So after these people donate this money, what do they get? Like, do those hungry people
No. This
owe
is called
them
I know,
service?
this is
for
going
a
to be
few
really
years?
hard. No, this is going to be really hard for you to get.
But
This is called giving.
How does the transaction work?
It's not a transaction. It's called giving.
Hold on,
It's a selfless
you're
act.
mansplaining. Bridget, can we mute him? Just please tell me.
Hoji's doing a great job. You
Now I
get
feel you're both
the-
mansplaining, but go ahead.
You get the feeling of knowing you've given and helped someone get a meal on their table or food in their kitchen cupboard.
Okay, so this feeling that you're talking about, is there a certificate? Is there something that investor, like what I mean, or does
I'm sure they give you a document you can
Okay.
use on your taxes
Tax
as a
deductible,
write-off.
perfect.
I'm sure it's
okay.
I make
There we
no
go.
guarantees. I'm sure it's tax deductible.
There we go.
Okay,
I don't
great.
think he's capable of comprehending that feelings don't carry any monetary value.
Daddy, can we put you down for $999?
Well, monetary values carry a lot of feelings, John. If that's what you're saying, it makes me feel great, and that is going to, this perfect segue, John, to the next part, which is promotion. And look, a lot of people are like, hey, I want to have the direct line and pay $3 a month, but I also want to give you money for nothing, just for that feeling that we were talking about, so you feel great. And they can do that by going to patreon.com/dhsports. They can also join the Google channel. You just join, you can be a paid member. And we actually give them stuff back. We mention them on the show, we tell the stories. If you donate enough, we will draw a picture of you. We will make a video for you, all this kind of stuff. You just have to give a lot of money for that. But that exists too And look,
You have to subscribe
don't forget to
to
subscribe.
the channel.
Leave a comment.
Put the alerts on.
Yes, let me know if you want to see the propaganda video.
Yes.
I think.
Are we gonna have a parade and everything, Daddy-O?
We'll have a parade if they sign Jessie Bates. Yes, if they re-sign Jessie Bates before July, we will have a parade. And please leave comments. And if you're watching on the Believe YouTube channel, our YouTube channel is D&H Sports. Of course, with the #1 Bengals podcast, we are available all the scratchy whatever, John, all the different podcast outlets. Leave a 5-star review there for Dr. OJ, Dr. Jacques Moji, John, Cougar Mountain Camp, Shirin, and our HR representative. I am Daddy McDuke. We will see you next time. So long, sweetie.
Sweetie pie.
Nice.